Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom or Tom. How's it going?
Tony, we're here in lovely Champaign, Illinois. Get a chance to run over the stadium real quick, get a quick look around there. There's no wind. No, not much wind.
Mm-hmm.
The Wi-Fi here is pretty good. So far, I really like this place. Doesn't take much.
Does not take much. Yes, the Wi-Fi is good. That's always a plus when we have that. There's a lot of bad things you can do to us, and we'll still give you a positive review, and we'll see how the rest of the night goes. But here we are in Champaign, waiting for the team arrival. They have left the airport. They should be here in 10-ish minutes, depending on traffic. So we'll have that live for you. And, of course, go ahead and throw your questions in there, and we'll get to those because we're here to talk to you guys as much as I've talked to Tom enough. I'd love to talk to you guys about this one. And so I don't even know what the latest line is, like 14.5 or something like that.
Something like that.
It's interesting because I don't pay attention to the line as much as I used to. And I think one of the reasons is because, and I say as much as I used to, I mean, like this year, like this defense is so different and the offense is different in a different way, where it's like that 24-6 win at Washington was completely dominating.
Yeah.
And it was a cover. But it's like, if you would have predicted 24-6, it's like, well, it's kind of,
yeah.
But when you watch it, like, this was complete domination. So it's hard to, like, what's complete domination in this one? Maybe it's 31-6, something like that, where maybe it doesn't thrill you. But when you go back and look at it and you're like, there was nobody going to beat Ohio State today. So that'll be interesting to see if they can continue that on the road against an opponent where they know this is the biggest thing coming to their town, to their city, in a very long time.
Yes, this is going to for sure be a game where Illinois, I mean, the nation's impression of Illinois football so far this year is, hey, Indiana made you go squish on national TV a couple weeks ago. And yeah, they beat USC last week or 2 weeks ago, and then they beat Purdue last week. But those are not games that drew a ton of national eyeballs, and certainly not the kind of scores that made everyone kind of, when they hit the scroll and everyone goes, whoa. What? They're 5-1. They've had a really good season. I mean, by recent Illinois standards, this is a great season. But right now, their whole season's been defined by the one game that went extremely not well. And we looked at that earlier in the week. Ryan Day said, don't pay any attention to it. And if you watch it, you can kind of see why. They had a ton of stuff that went wrong. Just weird, an injury. They had one of their key players in secondary get tossed for targeting. They lost, I think, 7 different guys in their secondary, didn't finish the game for, because of injuries or targeting or whatever it was. That's a weird outlier game. You're not going to have that every week. So don't go into this game thinking, well, Indiana beat them 63-10 and Ohio State's better than Indiana, so they should beat them 70-3. That's you got to kind of discard that one and look at the rest of the results. And the rest of the results say this is a team with a pretty good offense and okay defense.
Well, I mean, give up, and I don't know how many points Illinois scored defensively, and that one I assume was
none.
So
it was a Hank Beatty touchdown and a field goal on a drive right before
halftime. Indiana. I mean, like, I don't know how many if they scored, but like still, you're giving up 7, 8, 9 touchdowns. Like, yeah, your defense is even at its best is still, that's a bad luck. It's a very bad luck, and maybe all of the bad luck that you had in that game. It's like there's still a reason for some of that. Now, there were some like perfect storms going on for both teams. So, like, yeah, that's why Ryan Day doesn't want his team necessarily looking at it and getting this false sense of security. But there are things that you can take away from it. But also, that's not the team that you're going to expect to play. That's the team you're preparing to play. And if you get that team 63-10, great job.
Yeah.
But you're not looking to play that team. You're looking to play the team that outlasted USC, that put up 43 points on Purdue, that beat Duke, like this capable program, this top 12 team that has playoff aspirations. And so, like, you're gonna expect the very best because that's what Illinois is going to need to win this game. So that's what they're preparing to bring.
For sure, this is an Illinois team. You never go into a game saying, "Well, as long as everything goes right, we'll be fine." College football coaches just by nature are what's going to go wrong and what's the plan when this goes wrong. I mean, they have a plan for what if the buses all get flat tires? What if what if the equipment truck fails to show up? I can tell you the equipment truck is here, so you can cross that one off your list of concerns. But what college football coaches are by nature kind of a paranoid, very worried bunch. So you're going to assume, what if you get the absolute best possible version of Illinois, which you very well might, because as we said earlier, this is their chance to make a positive statement. This is a chance for everyone for them to have a score on the scroll on the bottom of the screen that makes everyone stop and go, oh wow, brackets complimentary, instead of oh wow, brackets derogatory, which it was a few weeks ago.
Well, and Brett Bielema has talked to his team way back into the winter about like this game and games like this against the number one team. And he's done it at Wisconsin in 2010. He's talked about that with this team. They've talked about the 2007 game. I believe he said on Monday that Juice Williams will be at the game.
Yes. Yep.
So that's going to be part of this as well. Juice Williams, of course, the quarterback of the 2017 that won in Ohio Stadium. And as we're talking now, I hear sirens.
I hear sirens as well. So
you might want to prepare for the buses to arrive.
I will tell you what, you go ahead and pop your phone off of the tripod there. And all right, so there you go. Tony will bring the camera over, and
now we wait. Not well, in a sense, but yes, they'll be coming down this way, and Brian Day will be on the first bus as always. Although I feel like we could have stayed on camera for a little while longer. Not as urgent as I thought.
Premature inside relation.
Silence is deafening. But as we wait for the buses, I guess we could start talking about this. There they come. And of course, we have some Ohio State staffers waiting to unload these buses as well. The thankless jobs that so many have. It takes a village to get all of this stuff in. There we go. I assume they're going to go around there and come through here. There's another one.
And then Brian Day is always on the first bus, so he should be stopping right there. That first bus.
All right, so they're going to
stopping right.
Get off here, and are we going to go chasing? It looks like we're going chasing. Bear with us.
Getting here, Champaign. How have you guys done final preparations to get ready?
Like we normally do, normal routine. Had a good walkthrough today. Good meetings. So looking forward to getting here tonight, have our dinner, have our meetings, and then wake up in the morning and after.
It's been 10 years. This is one of the rare Big Ten venues you have not coached as a Buckeye. What are you expecting tomorrow?
Yeah, great atmosphere. We get the new kickoff, so they'll be all jacked up. And but that's what we expected. When we looked at this schedule early in the year, we knew this was going to be a great game, a great team. We knew they had a veteran quarterback who's playing great, and Brett does a great job. So we know this is going to be a challenge for us on a road. So had a good week of prep. Have a good night tonight. Wake up and get after it.
It's rare to play 3 road games in 4 weeks. What do you think you can learn about a team in a stretch like this?
Well, I think that's it. It's one thing to do it 1 week, for a game, for a couple games, but about almost the halfway point. So just getting going, build the momentum. Great teams are consistent. They got to do it every week, so that's a challenge for us.
Quick update: is Kenyatta going to play?
Kenyatta's here, so he'll be available and ready to roll.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
So there is a little bit of news right there. Kenyatta's actually interested.
We're back. I started walking away from the building and saw the Wi-Fi signal drop precipitously, and I thought maybe I'll let Tony handle that.
Hey, I'm looking good the entire time, so I don't know if it looks.
Yeah, I think,
good.
yeah. So glad that worked out. This is a nice little spot. Got everything you needed there. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll answer those. We have some time. We can hang out here if we need to. So we can answer those. We sort of left off with Illinois' defense and what we've seen from them, because we've watched a few games at this point, and it feels like they have one significant injury for Xavier Scott, who is out for an extended period, not going to play tomorrow, and they've been kind of banged up, but it seems like everyone else should be back. But you look around the defense, and there's not that one guy. I mean, there are, last week with Minnesota, we were talking about Coy Parrish, and Coy Parrish can only do so much at a safety spot. But last year, Purdue, we were talking about Dylan Thieneman. I don't know that I see that guy here for Illinois. Like, it's a solid defense, but there's no one that you're going like, oh man, here's the guy you really got to watch.
Well, and Gabe Ackus, the edge rusher, number 17, is the guy that's still want to know, but when we've watched him, there's maybe a couple of moments. He had a good season last year, like 8.5 sacks. So, he is a known quantity, but Ohio State has done well against pass rushers to this point, the known pass rushers.
Yeah.
And so, but also as a defensive end, you can stop them 35 times, and if they get a sack on you, then they won the game.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can as a defensive end, you get a strip sack, and that can swing the game. And Gabe Ackus, when you're looking for him on the Illinois roster, you got to look at the J's. The J is silent, and so it's Jacas, I believe. So it was a little confusing. I was like, are they saying his name wrong? Looked at no, they're saying his name right. So,
but other than that, they've got a linebacker, Rosiak, who pops a little bit here and there. But
28.
Yeah. Other than that, when you watch him, it's like I could see why they're able to be run on. Indiana went for over 300 yards on them. Again, you want to talk about an injured secondary? That's fine. Why are they rushing for 300 yards on you? So that's a line of scrimmage issue as well. I think Purdue rushed for a little bit of yards on them. So this is one where if Ohio State doesn't run as well as they'd like, then I would be concerned. But also keep in mind, the RPOs are going to go for yards in the passing game. Ohio State and the people who do the RPOs also count that as run yards.
Yes.
So an RPO that goes to Carnell Tate for 64 yards is passing yards, but it may as well be rushing yards because it was a run or a pass, and whatever the defense was going to allow is what they were going to do. So it's not like the running game, gosh, they only rushed for 122 yards. Like, well, 64 of that was an RPO, and more than 64. You probably have like 120 of that is RPO, but because the defense went this way, the passing game went that way.
Well, and that's sort of been what Ohio State's done all season on offense, which is, what is the defense going to try and take away? Okay, that's fine. We'll do the other thing. That's and fundamentally that is what an RPO play is. You're taking the stripped down most basic version is okay. You're reading the defensive end, and if the defense, or you're reading the linebacker, or you're reading you can read whoever, yeah. And if this guy does one thing, I do thing A. If this guy does the other thing, I do thing B. In the ground game is just a pure run. If the defensive end crashes on the running back, the quarterback keeps it. If the defensive end stays out to protect against the quarterback, he's unblocked, which is fine. That equates numbers, but then you give it to the running back, and then the running back takes it inside. So if you do it correctly, you put the defender in a no-win situation. Now, defenses have gotten a lot better at defending those over the last couple of years, which is one of the reasons you're seeing scoring kind of tick down a little bit. But Ohio State has been very good this year at taking what the defense is giving them and saying, just sort of shrugging and going, yeah, that's fine. We'll beat you that way.
Sure. We're breezy.
I will real quickly, we got some questions in there, and we'll get to those in a minute. I was just over at the stadium, got a couple pictures. I know Ohio State hasn't been here since 2015, so I'm just going to throw a couple pictures up there just so you can sort of see inside the stadium. If this works, there we go. Yeah, that is inside Memorial Stadium. That was just about half an hour or so ago. You can see there's some those little orange towels on some of the benches. They've got those for the students and for a lot of the fans. You'll see a lot of orange towels getting waved. This is sort of the south end of the stadium. They have the Ohio State flag up there. You can kind of see in the background those kind of like really cool old school lights. I said to Tony, they're kind of like Wrigley Field lights a little bit. This is a 101-year-old stadium. Been opened in 1924, and so there are definitely some old school touches.
Yeah. Is that starch on that flag?
No, that I have about 17 pictures before and after that where you cannot read that it is the Ohio State flag. And then this is outside the stadium. This is the Red Grange statue, who was the legendary galloping ghost for Illinois back in the 1920s. But on the stadium outside behind him, you can see those like limestone or sandstone columns. There are 200 of those around the stadium. They're all engraved with the names of Illinois service members who died during World War I. So they call this Memorial Stadium, built in 1924, and it is a memorial dedicated in honor of all the students the Illinois service members who died in World War I. So some kind of cool details here at Illinois.
One of 3 memorial stadiums in the Big Ten?
There's Indiana has one. Nebraska has one as well. Yes, I think Minnesota might have had one. Minnesota's might have been Memorial Stadium like prior to the Metrodome, like closed in 1981. I think that was a Memorial Stadium as well. But it's kind of the story of Memorial Stadium in Champaign is similar to Ohio Stadium, where it was built basically the same time. A year off it opened, but in Michigan Stadium too, but it's raised funds through all donations of students and fans and residents of the state and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a very cool venue. One where I had not been here before. I was very much looking, I hope this bus backs up at some point, or we're going to have to start doing 2018 senior draft coverage again. It is a very cool old stadium, very interesting, and just kind of a unique venue. Sometimes you'll go into a place you haven't been before, and it's kind of like, yeah, all right, this looks a lot like a lot of other places. This reminds me a little bit of Soldier Field in Chicago with the columns and all that kind of stuff. And the Bears did, in fact, play here a little while they were renovating Soldier Field 20 whatever years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice old Big Ten stadium, and there are a good number of them around here. Yeah, I've been to I was here in 96 or 98. I was here in 2006 and 2015. So I've seen all of the changes over the years.
2006 was a really terrible, close, low-scoring game, right? That was one of those Illinois win
Cold and
specials.
rainy.
Yeah. And there was a question from No Longer the Man. He says, "Is it as windy as they say it is?" Not windy at all right now, and it's supposed to not be windy tomorrow. It's supposed to be 70 something degrees and sunny and wind of less than 10 miles an hour, which feels like you're not getting the whole Illinois experience, but I suspect Ryan Day will not mind.
Hey, we missed out on the whole Seattle experience.
It didn't rain.
Nobody complained.
All these sunny 70-degree days. What did we do to deserve this?
I think we're probably about 2 weeks away from like the real Champaign Memorial Stadium experience with which you only need to do once in your life. And then you're like, I need early October, late September, Big Ten opener. Perfect. Let's do it.
Let's see. Got a couple people here say yes. Woody says, I heard Juice was going to be there. We'll see if any has any magic left. Yes, that's what Brett Bielema said. Juice Williams, 2007 Illinois quarterback, supposed to be in the stadium. And that team, that Illinois team, 2007, beat a number one Ohio State team. That was in Ohio Stadium. Brett Bielema has also beaten a number one Ohio State team. That was in 2010 when he was at Wisconsin. So this would not be totally unprecedented. And there was a bunch of kind of similarities between that Wisconsin team and this Illinois team, where it was number 17 versus number 1 and all that kind of stuff. So, that was one where Wisconsin ran back the opening kickoff for a touchdown. So if they're going to do it again, you figure, they're good on special teams this year. So you would figure they probably need to do some stuff on special teams to make that happen.
That Wisconsin game also had the night.
Oh yeah.
The nighttime, and they used it. Tom, when was the last time you went back and looked at the drive chart of the 2007 game of that final Illinois drive?
It has, I will confess, it has probably been about, 18 years or so.
Because I went back and I was looking at it. I was writing about it a little bit for something later on. So that was the final 8:09 of the game. Todd Beckman throws an interception at like the Illinois 33-yard line. Illinois, I think it's maybe like 16 plays, 43 yards.
Oh.
8:09 on the clock, and
the Big Ten West didn't exist at that point.
No,
and yet it kind of spiritually did.
Juice Williams picked up, I think, 4 first downs on 3rd or 4th down runs, twice on like a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 quarterback draw, and it's like they threw once on that drive. They ran 15 times, and so one of the things I was writing about was like, would Arvell Reese have allowed that to happen?
Yeah.
James Laurinaitis and Marcus Freeman, that they were the linebackers at the time. Would Sonny and Arvell have allowed that to happen? Because that was, however many of you, some of you certainly remember that. That was one of the most frustrating things you will have ever seen as a Buckeye fan.
Yeah, for sure. That where you can't get off the field. Ohio State did that to Penn State last year. They had the goal line stand, and then Penn State just could not get off the field. Ohio State has done that a few times this year as well, where they just kind of are willing to just sort of strangle the life out of the game and move on and not worry about the style points, just get the win, get out as healthy as you can, and move on to the next week. So, yeah, I'm sure Ryan Day would be happy to have a drive in the fourth quarter where all they're worried about is just keep the chains moving, keep the clock moving, and then get on the plane and go home.
Yeah, for sure. That's what you get on the road for. Ryan Day did say that Kenyatta Jackson is here. He was asked if he's playing. He's like, well, he's here. So they'll see.
It's known as a non-response response.
He traveled.
Someone in the comments asked if CJ Hicks was here. No longer the man asked, did CJ Hicks travel? I didn't see him, but I wasn't looking for him.
You've got people with the hoods on now.
I would, based on the way Ryan Day has talked about CJ Hicks, I think CJ Hicks is on standby at all times. I would fully expect to see CJ Hicks at all of these games because he's potentially an injury or two away from playing. I would be pretty surprised, based on the way this whole thing's been discussed, if he wasn't here.
Yeah, that's my thought, that everybody's going to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I think Ryan Day did say on his radio show, on the call-in show, formerly call-in show,
yes,
that it does make the travel roster difficult when you're trying to figure out red shirting and who to bring, who not to bring, and who's trying to sit out. But the way Ryan Day keeps talking about it, like these guys are on call, so we're trying to do them a solid. But if we need them, we need them.
Right. Yeah. You've got your, you'd like to not work on Friday, but your boss has a big project and they might need to give you a call and, hey, if I need you kind of thing. I think they would, it would probably be best if he was able to get another year. But Ryan Day talked this week about the 5-for-5 rule, which is a proposed rule with the NCAA that if it's passed, you would have 5 years to play 5. So in that case, there's no more redshirting. Everyone gets 5 years. And so if that ends up passing, then you'd rather have CJ Hicks at all these games because I'm sure they'd want him playing on special teams and he's going to be playing a little bit on defense. Right now the conversation is not, is he going to play at all on defense? It's, is it worth for him to play 5 or 7 snaps on defense and burn a year for that? And Ryan Day said, boy, it would be helpful to know if this was actually going to pass or not, because that would make a real big difference in terms of how they're handling this situation. Because if you're going to have 5-for-5, then it's a waste for him to sit these games out if he's going to have the year in 2026 regardless.
Well, and you also have, there's a lawsuit ongoing with the NCAA right now about 5-for-5. So it's just like, wouldn't it just be better for everybody?
Yeah.
Just to.
The NCAA has punted on an awful lot of stuff. It feels like this would be a good one for them to punt on. And, and that also probably, you have all this ambiguity about, you've got, you see guys who are like, how is that guy possibly still playing college football? I just saw one, who I think was a 2017 recruit or 2018 recruit, and it was like, there's no way this guy still has his eligibility. It was someone who had played, and I think he's at Syracuse now, but he played like at 4 other schools, and it was like, there's no way. TJ Finley, TJ Finley was in the same recruiting class as like Craig Frenzel. There's no possible way that, but so you've got all these like weird edge cases with the guys who still are, the last couple guys with the COVID year and injury red shirts and all that kind of stuff. If you could clear some of that up, that would probably be good.
And then one last thing on the CJ Hicks thing. If with Kenyatta Jackson being questionable, then don't you have to bring CJ Hicks as well? Like that also adds to the need to have him here just in case. Mm-hmm. And yet you'd still have to get past, Zion Grady and things like that for him to need to play.
For sure. So Omar says, great job as always. Good to have you here, Omar. Always appreciate having you here in our in the comments, being with us. We're doing, Alex says, I feel like doing these podcasts is getting redundant. We're that good. They're only through 5 games, because Illinois has not had a week off yet. You're only through 5 games. This will be halfway through the regular season. That is simultaneously, boy, I can't believe we're already to the point where they're halfway through the regular season. But also, you still got another half of the season, and then you potentially have a Big Ten championship game, and you could have 4 more games after that. So they could have, you could be through 6 games out of 17 after this week. So still a long way to go. And I think there's a lot of these games in the back half of the schedule where you can kind of go, yeah. But I know everyone has made up their minds on what Penn State is. I don't know that Penn State has made up their minds on what Penn State is. And this game on Saturday, this is not a team you can overlook. If Ohio State comes in and sleepwalks in the first half of this game, this is absolutely a game where you could be in the third quarter and they're down 17-13 and everyone's wondering what the heck is going on.
And then you're trying to create your own momentum when you would have just been ready to go from the outset, you'd have it. So this is one where you don't want the Buckeyes themselves to be as sleepy as maybe some of the fans will be with this one. But I am interested to see what the crowd looks like tomorrow, because I have set it at 35,000 for Illinois, 25,000 for Ohio State, because the place seats about 60,000.
Yeah, it's like 61,000.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how many Ohio State fans have traveled and how many Illinois fans are desperate to keep this ticket.
Yeah, I looked at tickets online earlier in the week, and they were not outrageously expensive. Like, this is the hottest ticket in the world, but they also were not cheap. Like, people were just dumping them. So I would, that's probably a few more Ohio State fans that I would expect, 20, 25 to 30% Ohio State fans, maybe. So a little less, but underestimate the the swarm of locusts that is Ohio State fans coming to drink your bars dry and eat your concession stands empty. We've certainly seen that plenty of times in the past at various venues. Sam wants to know over under 1.5 delay of games, forced timeouts due to Illinois' slow substitution. We saw that a bunch on some of the games we watched.
Yeah, there's going to probably be a timeout have to be called. Ryan Day is not going to be happy about it. That they're going to have to waste timeout. But then get your substitutions out there maybe a little quicker and force Illinois to do the same. But they're going to. It's you don't have to help Ohio State slow things down, but Brett Bielema will. He'll be happy to do that.
Well, and you can just keep your same personnel on the field, and then if Illinois tries to slow substitute, if you don't change, they don't hold the game up. You can, if you don't swap your subs out, you can just keep your you can go whenever you want to go, and if they want to sub out, by all means, take as long as you want coming off the field. But we're going to snap it whenever we want to snap it, kind of situation. And we did see that with the Illinois USC game, where there were a couple times that Illinois was. Like defensive linemen are just sort of standing straight up and looking to the sideline, and USC snaps the ball, and those were, it wasn't 80-yard gains, but it was 8-yard gains. Yeah, and you certainly could be. So, that's a careful scarecrow kind of situation. You can be as clever as you want, and sometimes you can get burned.
We see Ohio State use tempo at times, small doses when they want to just kick it up a notch, find an advantage, find something that works. So. You'll see it at some point, but then of course they'll slow it back down and go from 12 to 11 and they change things and then pick it back up again a little bit. Maybe once they find a defense that they like on the field, just try to keep them out there.
Yep. Here's the real question, Tony. You were the one driving. No longer the man wants to know how many semis did you pass on the way through Indiana?
Well,
4.
No. It was 119. I keep count of that, of course, and then
it sounds low.
13 slug bugs. So that's one where we just everybody knows that. And then Tom does this thing where he likes to point out blue cars, and it's like it's the most annoying thing you've ever seen.
There's a song about counting blue cars.
Well, there are a lot of blue cars on the highway, as you might expect, and Tom lets you know about every single one of them. It is quite annoying.
Here we go. We got one from Christopher. Illinois has given up 16 sacks on offense and a lot of big plays on defense. So if you play this right, this might be a blowout. Illinois' offensive line is the second most experienced offensive line in the country behind. They showed this stat on the USC broadcast, and now I'm forgetting. It was. Rest assured, they're the second most experienced.
Was it TCU?
It might have been TCU. So it was. I was thinking Northwestern, but I might be thinking private school wearing purple, so it might have been TCU. Either way, second most experienced offensive line, but they're also not, they will, if you can just be straight ahead, power, run between the tackles, they can be a pretty effective offensive line. If they're going sideline to sideline, I don't think you're going to see a ton of stretch out of them. Joel Klatt was talking on the broadcast a couple weeks ago about the fact that it's an experienced offensive line. It's not a particularly athletic offensive line. And if you're not an athletic offensive line and you're going up against guys like Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, I don't know if that's a winning formula for you.
Guys who are just good enough to keep their job, and then they don't recruit over them, and so they're just around. But the offense for Illinois has an explosive guy, Hank Beatty, out of the slot. But running wise, I haven't really seen much. They've got 3 guys that they'll use that they're just no better than. I wouldn't compare them to anybody that Minnesota has, but
they're fine.
Yeah, and so there should be an advantage for Ohio State there. They don't have the depth of receiver that necessarily you'd like to if you're going to attack this Ohio State defense. And the defensive line, I'm expecting them to control the game, and that's why we'll get into our score predictions. I keep going too high on what Illinois is going to score, and I don't have them scoring a lot of points. It's just at this point I'm starting to need to see somebody score a couple of times, a few times to know that it's like, oh, okay, it can be done.
Well, I think I picked Washington to score 13 or 17 or something like that. And that feels low because Washington had scored on 21 straight non-kneel down possessions going into the game, and 19 of them were touchdowns. And so to say they're going to score 17 points feels like, come on, have you seen what this offense can do? And then I was high by 11 points on that. And I picked Illinois to score double digits, which is it's low double digits, and it's a score that I think Illinois fans will look at and go, that is insultingly low. And if they hit that number, then they'll be the first team to score double digits against Ohio State all season long. And Ohio State's played some okay teams. I mean, Texas was not, Texas is not what we thought Texas was going to be at the beginning of the year. Texas also is not a bad team, and they got shut out for about 56 minutes of that game. Ohio University, the only other team to score a touchdown against Ohio State this season. So it feels like you're kind of recalibrating every week, that, Ohio State should win by about this much, but you got to adjust the Ohio State score down a little bit because of the tempo and the number of plays, and you got to adjust the opposing score down a little bit because of, Matt Patricia and his whole crew.
Well, if you think about it, Ohio State has given up one touchdown drive this year. The touchdown against Ohio was 64-yarder, just big play. It wasn't a drive. The Texas drive at the end of the game when, I don't know, can you call it prevent defense? If you want, but it was a legitimate, they drove down the field and scored a touchdown. That's the only time that's happened out of, we'll say, 5 games, say 45 drives. There's been one touchdown, full touchdown drive. That's to expect. Well, is it crazy to say Illinois is not going to score a touchdown? It's like, well, based on the season, no, it's not crazy. But based on the fact that generally Illinois will score touchdowns, then yeah, they should have scored. And then to say, well, they should score at least one, right? It's like, well, why only one?
Right. Yeah, and this is an Illinois team that does have some talented pieces. They've got, you mentioned Hank Beatty, number 80, the slot receiver. He is by far their best receiver on the team. Colin something on the outside, number 17.
Yeah, 17.
He's kind of the number 2 receiver. You've seen him hit some big plays. And Luke Altmaier as a quarterback, experienced, accurate, hits a high percentage of his passes. There's not a ton of downfield, but he's efficient, he's effective, he can run a little bit. He's not going to light you up. He's not going to put up 500 yards passing on this Ohio State defense. But he very well could. You could absolutely see him leading a couple touchdown drives, and maybe they take a field goal as well. Even in the Indiana game, they went right down the field, boom, 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 at the beginning of the game. And then they got the ball right before halftime, and he led a very efficient 2-minute drive down the field right before halftime. You could certainly see him doing that, and maybe they score another touchdown somewhere. And it's 17 points, and everyone on the Ohio State side is losing their mind because they haven't gotten 17 points practically the whole year combined. And the Illinois fans, I'm sure, would be going, only 17 points? It's like that. That feels the good compromise that leaves everyone mad.
What have they given up? 22 points this year?
7 to Texas, 9 to Ohio, none to Bolton, none to Grambling. So that's 16, and then 6 to Washington, and that's 22,
3.
and then 3, so 25. Yeah. So Lisa wants to know, what is the weather forecast for tomorrow? It is a non-traditional Champaign, Illinois football game day. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be in the 70s. The wind is going to be, wind is going to be in the single digits. I think the highest I saw the wind was about 8 miles an hour. It should be really pleasant. I'm expecting a nice, pleasantly chilly morning, and then it'll warm up, and it'll be in the mid 70s by the end of the game probably. But it's an 11 a.m. local kickoff, so it'll probably be, when we get here tomorrow morning, I'm guessing it's going to be a little brisk.
It'll be in the 50s.
Yeah, it'll be really pleasant college football weather.
I have pants packed.
I do too. Yes. Robert says, better hope Ohio State doesn't take this game lightly. I mean, Ryan Day has been really, really methodical about not taking anyone lightly, not taking anything for granted. Every time you hear, someone asked anything remotely positive about the team, it's like, That's fine. We got to get better. We can't
Doesn't
like
mean anything.
what we've done so far is not good enough to get to where they want to get. Basically,
Well,
It's deal.
I guess on his radio show, he said they had a really good practice on Tuesday and then an practice on Wednesday.
Mhm.
So when you have something like that, that's going to lead to a wake up call as well on Thursday, and then of course Friday, the best Fridays in football.
Robert says, let's have Peyton Innes have a huge day tomorrow. I mean, if Tate, you've seen have a huge day, and we saw them when they were in Chicago last year. Tate is a Chicago native, and he had a couple touchdowns against Northwestern, almost had a third touchdown against Northwestern. Champaign is a couple hours from Chicago. I don't know that I see this necessarily being a homecoming game, and you really want to get him the ball, but you've also just sort of seen him. If opponents are going to really focus on Jeremiah Smith, Tate's long touchdown last week was Jeremiah Smith goes in motion and like 3 defenders go with him, and Julian Sane kind of shrugs his shoulders and goes, okay, and throws it to a wide open Carnell Tate.
Yeah, they're gonna look for guys to get the ball to, but then also you take what the defense gives you. It will be interesting to see if they do draw some stuff up for Brandon Innes. They did it a few weeks ago, and he had like 3 catches, kind of like on the bang, bang, bang on some rollouts there. But also, you're going to see them getting Max Clare more involved, and so it's one or the other for those 2 guys generally. And so I think they like what they've got going with Max Clare. I think they're going to continue to invest in that, push that forward, because he is. I think he is currently the wide receiver 3 on this team in terms of he's 3rd in receptions, 3rd in yards, and he started slowly.
Yeah.
And then he had 5 catches last week for like 63 yards. I think he just continued to explore that and move with that. And then, when teams are not ready for the 11 personnel and you throw out Brandon Innes or Bryson Rogers or Mylan Graham, because we have seen more of Mylan Graham, but I would like to see more of him. And then also, hey, give him the ball.
Yeah, you haven't seen him. I don't think he's had a reception this year, has he?
One.
Okay.
Grambling State, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, and Quincy Porter, I think, had 1 against Scrambling maybe, and then he had 1 last week as well, like a 15-yarder last week. So, I don't know that those are guys who I'm expecting to have big roles, but they're certainly guys that they're ready to go if needed. How many possessions, Tony, do you think Ohio State has tomorrow? Over under 8.5. I'm probably going over that.
I'm going to go over because my baseline is 9.
Yeah.
And then if they get more than that, good job. If they get less than that, then that's a win for the opponent. So and then at times, like I said, they will run some tempo because they know, like, hey, let's try to find another possession somewhere.
Lisa says, can't wait to watch your sightseeing videos tomorrow. We actually got a behind the scenes video over at Memorial Stadium earlier this afternoon that is uploaded but hasn't actually been posted yet. We'll post that a little later on this evening. Just kind of like a little bit of just sort of walk around the stadium and let you see sort of things from field level. It'll look just sort of around the stadium and then walk up kind of to the concourse and then outside, so you can see the outside of the stadium as well. Really nice, interesting, visually interesting, cool, historic stadium. You'll have that a little later on in the evening. Jordan says he's a bit disappointed the weather isn't absolutely miserable for some people to take pictures from the sidelines. Duck Pacific Northwest weather, and now no Champaign turbulence. Shame. Hey, this is an anti-Kevin year. It is not 2020, and next year's an anti-Tony year. So you save that comment for 2027, Mister.
The year of the rat.
Ken wants to know, Coach Patricia has been a defensive coordinator. What was his position coach before? He's been a defensive coordinator for so long. What was his position coach before? What was his
I believe he was
specialty?
Well, I think he's done line.
He's been a bunch of different positions. I'm trying to think what
he's also done some offense here and there.
He coached, like, he was kind of like the fill-in guy for the Eagles.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago on offense.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Did not go well there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly. Wikipedia will tell you that one.
Yeah.
But I think he's been all over the place. I think linebackers, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that one.
Well, yeah, he's been around for 20-something years, so he's kind of done a little bit of everything, which is probably beneficial that you've sort of looked at the game from all these different spots.
And here's what you also need to know: like when we see him talking to people, he's talking to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Every single position. And one day it's going to be CJ. I've seen him like work with CJ Hicks on his footwork, and next day he's talking to Caleb Downs about stuff. And so
Yeah.
and everywhere in between.
Yeah, when you've been doing it for this long and doing it at the level he's been doing it, you've kind of seen it all. It's not what's this problem? I wonder how you fix it. It's, I had a guy with the Patriots in 2015. He had the same thing. Here's how he fixed it. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, you just kind of have that mental Rolodex to refer back to. Terry wants to know, do the Buckeyes top Indiana against Illinois with 7+ sacks? 7 sacks would be a lot.
They had 6 against Washington, and it felt like they lived in the backfield. But 7 is a lot, so I'll say no.
Yeah, that's probably too.
Also, at that point, I think they're just going to start running the ball.
Yeah, probably.
It's just, look, the game is over. Let's keep our quarterback as healthy as possible. We need him. You can afford 2 losses. You can't afford 3 in the Big Ten.
No. Joe says, please no wind. No wind. No wind right now. I mean, it's we're kind of sheltered by the building right now, but it's 5 mile an hour. It's very little wind. So
I heard the wind was in the low 70s.
That was the last time we covered a game in the state of Illinois. I think that was it. Jordan, you used up all of the bad weather for me on the sidelines the last time, or two times ago. Last year at Wrigley Field was fine. 2022 at Ryan Field was maybe the most miserable weather conditions I've covered a game in. Joe says, my birthday tomorrow, wishing a Buckeye victory. Happy birthday, birthday, Joe. Spend some of that with us. Butch says tomorrow's bowl predictions winner will be whoever calls dibs first. And then we have, says Northwestern was windy. Yes, can confirm. And then we just have a couple more. Tin Man and Joe both want to know, have we picked somewhere for dinner tonight? No, we have not.
We're trying to decide whether to stay here or eat in Champaign or head back to where we're staying. But there is a place called Legends on campus here that people say has, it's sports bar food. So, it is what it is. But
I have eaten that before, but I will probably eat it again at some point. So we'll see if that is tonight.
But there's no, like you have to do this place, or you have to do that. We couldn't really find.
Yeah.
But tell them what we did do. We did look for Gumby's because Gumby's Pizza. This is one of the last places it has been. The local stores are all closed. We did look for La Bamba because La Bamba, I think, was also here for a while. It is no longer here that I could find. So could not do any of the Ohio State campus staples, unfortunately. Not that I was looking forward to Gumby's, and not that it was exactly the same as it was back then. Not that it would still be, $6.25 for a large.
How much are the pokey sticks? It feels like that might be a little soul crushing. And then you also don't have the digestive system of someone in their early 20s. So
do people eat this stuff, Southern?
Yeah. So there you go. We'll. I just threw up a photo from inside the stadium earlier this afternoon. Again, a very, very cool stadium. As Lisa asked earlier, I did go in and shoot a sort of behind the scenes video. We'll have that up a little later on this afternoon. So make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you get notified when we do live stuff. We're going to have more coming for you on Saturday, pre and post game, as well as that behind the scenes coverage. And we'll see. I might be able to get another behind the scenes video before the game on Saturday as well.
Yeah. Sailgating. Do they do like a land version of sailgating?
I assume it involves combines. We drove past a lot of combines.
Horn gating?
If you have never been to Northeast Illinois, if you've been to Northwest Ohio, it's much the same. It was kind of like, oh yeah, I've been to Van Wert, Ohio before. It's
wow, what a drop!
It's
very good.
It's a lot of corn, a lot of flat, and it was just kind of like, yeah, all right, I've never been here before, but I've kind of been here.
God's country is what they call it. So that will do it. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up if you could before you go. We will be back. Tom said he's got more. We're going to be back tomorrow as well. As you know, full slate of coverage of this game before and after. So look forward to that. And of course, you can continue to find us talking about this at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later.